Here you will listen to a clip from the April 26th Board of Supervisors meeting where you'll hear Jennifer Savage discuss the transfer of $1.7 million from the reserve fund into the general fund. Now, her claim is that this is money collected from accounts receivable from previous sewer bills. I'm going to show you that this cannot be the case. We only had about 1.7 million to begin with in accounts receivable that aged over 90 days. Most of that money has not been collected, so the transfer has to be monies that were proceeds from the sewer plant itself. So listen to this, and as you do, you will start understanding where we're being misled by Mrs. Savage. So I'm going to let you listen to that, and I'll have some other information dropping in here before it's over. Okay?
One other question about the transfers.
Oh yeah, the general fund transfer with the sewer. Yep.
Yes, so we have budgeted a transfer from the what we are now calling the reserve fund to the general fund of $1.7 million for 2021. Just wanted to again go over that there's a misconception that this is wastewater sale proceeds that is coming into the general fund. That is not the case. These are actually payments made on past due sewer bills. So we have many residents that are making monthly payments on their past due bills that they have. And I've reviewed this before. We have people who owe $50. We have people that owe $13,000. So it's a variety of varied balances. But we have many residents who are making conscious efforts to make monthly payments on their past due bills. We also do every month receive payment in full for a lot of these accounts via, of course, people selling their homes. The proceeds of the sale pays off the balance. Sheriff sales, and sometimes we do get a paid in full for a couple $1,000 personal payment from someone. So we are taking in money on that accounts receivable balance. This has nothing to do with the sale and the proceeds money that is sitting there.
Thank you.
Okay, so you hear her telling us that the proceeds are not, the transfer is not for the proceeds from the sewer plant. And what I'm going to show you next is the reports that I asked them to send me of the balances, the aged receivables for the sewer plant. Now you'll see several lines on these reports, but it looks like we also have some accounts receivable from recycling and bankruptcies and collections, but the last two lines are predominantly the sewer receivables that we haven't collected yet. Server, you'll see sewer 2, that's the principal, and then the last line is sewer liens. So here you see the report from May 29th, 2020. So this is at the end of May of 2020, and you'll see this drop box here, these two items right here that equal $1,748,775,000 and change. So this is the 1.7 million she's claiming we collected, and that money is going to be transferred from the reserve fund into the general fund. And what I'm going to show you is that most of this money has not been collected. Very, very little of it. In fact, it will take years to collect all of this money if we ever do collect it. You can see, as the report says, this is 90 days or older. And I think that's as far as it goes out as aging. It could be even longer than that. I'm sure it is. Some of this is over years old. Now we'll take a look at the third slide. And you'll see that this demonstrates that on April 30th, 2021, this is the amount that we had still to collect. And so there's a delta between the two reports, $190,092 and change. This is what they've actually collected from the last report of May 29th, 2020. to this report, April 30th, 2021. So it's roughly 11 months, just short of a year, and they collected under $200,000. So at this rate, you can see it will take many years to collect all of this late billings that we haven't. We just, I don't know why we wasted time collecting this, why it went on for so long, but it has. So you can see that the amount that they're transferring into the general fund couldn't possibly be the collection of these bills, this accounts receivable. They haven't collected them yet. They only collected $190,000 in almost a year. Now, the next slide I'm going to show you is a slide that they're presenting at the next Board of Supervisors meeting in May, and that will be held on May 10th. And so what we have here is a report that was put together by someone, perhaps Jennifer Savage, we'll see. But you can see item A there. This is the balance as of September 23rd, 2020. Now, it's very different than what you saw for the balance of April 30th, 2021. And the balance shown on here is also different from the balance on the report. And the reason why these numbers are higher is because she's including all accounts receivables that are aged over 90 days, not just the sewer bills. At least it appears that way. It's very hard to decipher some of these things because they're not telling us anything about it. And then you can see on B, the balance that she claims was on 12/10/2020. And also note the dates that she's taking these balances. They do not make sense. Normally you would, if you wanted to show September, you would show a report at the end of September. If you wanted to show the amount outstanding in December, you would show December 31st, 2020. And then she does take April 30th, 2021, but she's inconsistent. There's no sense to why you would take those particular dates in the middle of the month or near the end of the month, but not quite at the end of the month. So this indicates to me that she's picking numbers, amounts to try to show, in this case, probably the consistent decrease of the accounts receivable. So we have A for September 23rd, 2020, and B for December 10th, 2021. And here, A minus B is the account receivable reduction. So what she's telling us here is that from September 23rd, 2020 to December 10th, 2020, they collected $42,795. And then we have item C, April 30th, 2021. And we can arrive at the same conclusion here that B minus C equals $67,937. So they collected from December 11th, 2020 to April 30th, 2021, they collected $67,937, reducing the accounts receivable. Well, if you look at number D, item D, there it is. 12/11/20 to April 30th, 2021, $67,937. But, let's take a look at this really, if it makes sense. Because down below, she shows us January through April collections of 2021. So this is all 21. This is item C, $94,251. It doesn't jive with item C, where they claim they collected $67,937. doesn't make sense with what she's showing us here. And if the numbers do not make sense, this whole report is bogus. So if we just look at funds collected below, as she tells us, discounting the $520,000 in 2020, because I don't understand what that means, really. It's all disjointed. This report is very disjointed. But if we look at January through April, she's telling us that they've collected $94,251. So if you went up to the April 30th, 2021 ending amount, you would expect to see at least that amount, $94,251. But she's telling us they only collected $67,937 from December 11th, 2020 to April 30th, 2021. So theoretically, unless there were no collections between December 11th and December 31st, that number should at least be $94,251 or possibly more. So to me, this analysis is it's not worth the paper it's printed on. It's not worth anything. This is something that does not make any sense. How do we get good information from our township? That's a good question. But I've shown you here that her information doesn't make sense. You shouldn't believe it. And all the money really that's going into the general fund from the reserve is mostly from the proceeds of the sale of the sewer plant. Thank you for watching. I hope I've been able to express this clearly and understandably to you, and have a good day.